Hello and welcome to Sabha TV. You're watching News Tonight with the host Rajnath. In this power-packed bulletin, we'll take you through important stories and events of the day. Well, first up, Vice President Venkaiah Naidu on Saturday made an appeal to preserve and promote the grand cultural tradition of India of living together and working together for the country, the world and the entire humanity in true spirit of the core of the Indian philosophy of share and care. He said this while virtually addressing the concluding ceremony of the centenary celebrations of Jai Chamraja Wadiyar, the 25th Maharaja of Kingdom of Mysore.
In his virtual address, the Vice President called for celebrating the knowledge, wisdom, patriotism and vision of all great rulers and statesmen like the Maharaja Jai Chamraja Wadiyar who have shaped our history. VP Naidu also highlighted that Mysore was the first major state to accept the instrument of accession after independence and said Jai Chamraja Wadiyar possessed qualities of the head and the heart which made him one of the tallest leaders and most admired rulers of this nation.
After independence, Mysore was the first major state to accept the instrument of accession. The process of transition by which Mysore became an integral part of Indian Union was smooth and easy thanks to the vision of the Maharaja. A Democrat at heart, the Maharaja has established a responsible government in the state by setting up the Constituent Assembly and an interim popular government with Sri K.C. Reddy Garu as Chief Minister. The Maharaja was a perfect blend of ancient traditional values of Indian civilization and the modernism of the Western world.
Vice President called J.C. Wadiyar a versatile genius and a lifelong learner who was a noted philosopher, music exponent, political thinker and philanthropist. Appreciating Jai Chamraja's mastery over the Sanskrit language and his outstanding oratory skills, Naidu said his Jai Chamraja Granth Ratnamala series has greatly enriched Kannada language and literature.
He was also a scholar of Sanskrit language. His interest in Sanskrit was not only mere academic, he was deeply attached to it and acquired enviable mastery over it. A versatile genius, Sri Jai Chamraji was also an outstanding writer and an impressive speaker. His Jai Chamraja Grantha Ratna Mala series has greatly enriched the Kannada language and literature. Sri Jai Chamraji was greatly in demand from several corners of the world for his erudite lectures and the themes he used to select for his spellbinding expositions were very often focused on Indian aesthetics and logic.
The Vice President appealed to everyone that we should celebrate the timeless Indian values and rich cultural heritage along with the spirit of democracy and of people-centered good governance. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
A day after his trip to Ladakh, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh visited Jammu and Kashmir on Saturday. He interacted with troops at forward post near the line of control in Kupwara district. More details in this report.
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh on Saturday visited the North Hill post along the line of control in the Kiran sector of Jammu and Kashmir. He was accompanied by Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat and Army Chief General Manoj Mukund Narvane. Rajnath Singh also visited the holy cave of Amarnath and offered prayers at the temple. On Friday, the Defence Minister reviewed security in Jammu and Kashmir with top military officials and exhorted the armed forces to maintain a strict vigil along the line of control with Pakistan. Rajnath Singh also visited forward areas in Ladakh on Friday, where he witnessed a military drill by the Army and the Indian Air Force. He also addressed the Army and ITBP troops in Lukun, Ladakh. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
India recorded another day of over 34,000 COVID-19 infections.
India reported 34,884 new coronavirus cases and 671 deaths in the last 24 hours. With this, the total cases in the country have surged to 10,38,000, while the death toll has gone up to 26,273. While the active cases are 3.58 lakh, recoveries have further increased to over 6.53 lakh, exceeding active cases by over 2.95 lakh. The recovery rate stood at 62.93% this morning. The ICMR has tested over 1.34 crore samples so far, including over 3.61 lakh samples tested on Friday. Maharashtra continues to report the highest number of cases, followed by Tamil Nadu, Delhi, Karnataka, Gujarat, Uttar Pradesh and Telangana. Bihar, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Uttar Pradesh and Telangana are emerging as the states where the virus is spreading at the fastest pace right now. Rural areas where health infrastructure is much weaker are now seeing a rise in the number of reported infections. Among cities with over 5 million population, Bengaluru, Hyderabad and Pune are witnessing the most rapid rise in infections, while the earlier hotspots Mumbai, Delhi, Chennai and Ahmedabad are showing signs of the outbreak slowing down. The city that has seen the highest rate of increase in cases is Bengaluru, where cases have increased at an average of 12.9% per day in the past 4 weeks. The city has also seen a surge in deaths, with fatalities growing at 8.9% per day for the same period. In terms of case fatality rate, Ahmedabad continues to top the list, followed by Mumbai and Kolkata. India is the third country to record more than 1 million coronavirus cases, behind only the United States and Brazil. The United States, with more than 3.6 million confirmed cases, is still seeing huge daily jumps in its first wave of infections. While the US has 11,387 cases per million population, Brazil is reporting 9,635 cases per million population. Meanwhile, India, the second most populated country in the world, has 757 cases per million people. Mortality rate in India is also much lower compared to many countries and the world average. Globally, the mortality rate of the disease is about 4.3%, while in India, it has dropped to 2.53% as of now. Global infections passed 14 million on Friday, marking the first time a surge of 1 million cases under 100 hours. Over 6 lakh people have died the world over. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
A number of states are reporting surge in COVID-19 cases. Maharashtra, Delhi, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka and Gujarat are currently the top 5 worst affected states in the country. In this report, let's take a look at the states with high incidence of Corona-19 infections.
India added 34,884 fresh cases of COVID-19 on Saturday. Of these, the highest number of cases were from Maharashtra. With 8,308 new COVID cases in the last 24 hours, Maharashtra now has 2,92,589 cases of coronavirus, with 11,452 deaths. Tamil Nadu reported 4,538 fresh cases of coronavirus in the last 24 hours. The state's tally has now mounted to 1,60,907 with 2,315 deaths. Karnataka added 3,693 new cases of COVID-19 on Saturday, the third highest in the country. The state has seen a rapid surge in COVID-19 infections and has one of the high rates of active cases. So far, Karnataka has confirmed 55,115 coronavirus cases, while 1,147 people have died. Andhra Pradesh also witnessed a rapid surge in the number of novel coronavirus cases. With 2,602 new cases in the last 24 hours, the state now has 40,646 new patients. Infections are also rapidly rising in West Bengal. 1,894 people tested positive for COVID-19 in the state in a single day, taking the state's total to 38,011. Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Telangana and Rajasthan are also witnessing a surge in COVID-19 infections. The COVID-19 tally in Uttar Pradesh has jumped to 45,163 with 1,722 cases reported on Saturday. Telangana reported 1,478 new cases on Saturday, taking the state's total to 42,496. Bihar has reported 23,589 coronavirus infections till date, 1,825 in the last 24 hours alone. In view of the worsening situation in Bihar, a high-level central team has been sent to the state. The team, comprising high-level experts, will work towards containing the pandemic in the state. Bihar is currently under total lockdown till the 31st of July. Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand have also imposed weekend lockdown in the wake of the sudden spurt in COVID-19 cases. People have been asked to not venture out unnecessarily during the lockdown period. Kerala implemented a total lockdown in coastal districts of the state from Saturday. The West Bengal government has extended the ban on passenger flights to Kolkata from 6 cities, including Delhi and Mumbai, till 31st July, as coronavirus cases continue to surge in the state. The Jharkhand government has announced a mandatory 14-day quarantine for those coming into the state, which has reported over 4,000 cases of COVID-19. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
While social distancing and hygiene are most important factors against COVID-19, medical infrastructure to ensure treatment of patients is being continuously augmented in India. As a result of concerted efforts, the hospital infrastructure to treat COVID-19 is much stronger today, while testing capacity has also continued to be ramped up.
In its fight against the novel coronavirus, India has followed a standard of care protocol for COVID-19 patients under mild, moderate and severe category for effective clinical management. Almost 80% of the asymptomatic and mild cases have been advised home isolation under medical supervision. The strategy of home isolation for the mild and asymptomatic patients has ensured to keep the hospitals unburdened, where the focus has been on treatment of the severe cases. Moderate and severe patients are treated in dedicated COVID hospitals and health centers. Medical infrastructure to treat COVID-19 patients includes 1,383 dedicated hospitals, 3,107 health centers, and 10,383 care centers, together having a capacity of 46,673 ICU beds. 21,848 ventilators are deployed in the hospitals in all states. Less than 1.94% of the cases are in ICUs, 0.35% cases are on ventilators, and 2.81% cases are on oxygen beds. The centre has supplied 235.58 lakh N95 masks and 124.26 lakh PPE kits to states. With a focus on test, track and treat strategy, from one lab in February, India now has 1,253 labs, including 885 government labs and 368 private ones. Apart from RT-PCR tests, considered the gold standard for COVID-19 testing, ICMR has also asked states to scale up testing in districts using the antigen-based method. Antigen tests were brought in to test asymptomatic people, particularly in containment zones. In antigen tests, the results can be declared on the spot in around 30 minutes. The focus of containment strategy remains on house-to-house survey, perimeter control activities, timely contact tracing and surveillance of containment and buffer zones. The government continues to support and supplement the efforts of the states by sending experts to areas witnessing an increase in caseload. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The World Health Organization on Saturday reported a record single-day rise of 237,743 new COVID-19 cases worldwide.
With that, global infections surpassed 14 million with nearly 6 lakh deaths. It took just 4 days for the world to record 1 million fresh coronavirus cases. The United States registered over 77,000 new cases in the past 24 hours, bringing its total tally to over 3.7 million. Over 141,000 people have lost their lives so far in the country. Mexico recorded 736 more COVID-19 deaths and 7,257 new coronavirus infections on Friday. Its caseload is over 3,24,000. COVID-19 cases in Brazil surpassed 2.04 million with 77,851 deaths as the pandemic continues to spread across the country. Russia on Friday lifted mandatory quarantine for people arriving from overseas. It also resumed some international flights. 6,406 new COVID-19 cases were registered on the day, taking the country's total to over 7.6 lakh. However, some countries are experiencing an infection resurgence. Tokyo on Friday reported a record rise of 293 new coronavirus cases, bringing the total tally to over 24,000 with 1,000 deaths. Singapore has reported a total of 47,453 confirmed COVID-19 cases, prompting authorities to impose new restrictions for international travellers. People with a travel history to Australia's Victoria State, Japan and Hong Kong will be put under mandatory quarantine at designated facilities. Australia's New South Wales reported 15 new coronavirus infections on Saturday, while Victoria had 217 new infections. Prime Minister Scott Morrison delayed the opening of Parliament for several weeks following a surge in new cases. China reported 22 new COVID-19 cases on Saturday, including 16 fresh cases in the Xinjiang region. Xinjiang has intensified COVID-19 screening and implemented strict quarantine measures. Meanwhile, countries worldwide are joining the global vaccine race. Chile will start COVID-19 vaccine clinical trials in August on 3,000 volunteers. The trial will test two vaccines from China's Sinovac Biotech and CanSino Biologics and the Oxford University vaccine. Russia has signed a deal with AstraZeneca pharmaceutical firm to manufacture Oxford University's potential COVID-19 vaccine. India also fast-tracked efforts for COVID-19 vaccine. Biotech and Zydus Cadila are conducting human clinical trials of their potential vaccines. Currently, 23 COVID-19 vaccines are under human clinical trials globally.
India and United States will set up a strategic petroleum reserve for India. A memorandum of understanding, or the MOU, on this was signed on Friday. The reserve will help India diversify its oil and gas energy supply at critical time. It's also aimed at sustaining an unhindered supply in case regions it depends on for petroleum products are in conflict.
An MOU to establish a physically stored petroleum reserve in America was signed at a virtual meeting between Petroleum Minister Dharmendra Pradhan and US Petroleum Minister Dan Brouillette on Friday. This is in addition to existing petroleum reserves in India at Vizag, Mangalore and Padur. The MOU is a major outcome of the second ministerial meeting of the India-US Strategic Energy Partnership. On Tuesday, both ministers had chaired industry-level interactions organized by US-India Strategic Energy Partnership.
We have agreed to collaborate in new areas including bioenergy, renewable energy in agriculture, SMEs, high-efficiency coal technologies with low to zero emissions through CCUS. We also agreed to include women in energy as a cross-cutting theme across the four pillars of the SCP.
Both countries also agreed to explore cooperation through joint activities and information exchange on biofuel production and use. This includes bioethanol, renewable diesel, other advanced biofuels and sustainable biofuels for air and sea transport. Another area of cooperation is the promotion of bilateral investments in the private sector. Both countries will also explore cooperation in utilizing the economic benefit of converting bio-waste into biogas.
India and America are also exploring possibilities of cooperation in the field of biofuel production and use. This will include the production of ethanol, the production of biofuel diesel, biopetrol that can be used in ships and aeroplanes too. India's consumer demands in energy sector is increasing and America is increasing its production of energy. So this relationship is the relationship for the future. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha Television with camera person Suresh in Delhi.
Well, the Election Commission has sought suggestions for poll campaign guidelines during coronavirus pandemic.
On Friday, the Commission wrote to all political parties after getting requests to ensure that the upcoming Bihar elections do not become a COVID-19 super spreader event. The parties have been asked to send in their suggestions by the month end. Bihar will have assembly elections later this year. The poll panel has already mandated some safety measures under the Disaster Management Act 2005. It has made wearing face masks in public places, social distancing, restricted large gatherings, thermal screenings and sanitization mandatory.
A mobile application of Prime Minister's Street Vendors Atmanirbhar Nidhi, PM SVA Nidhi, has been launched to extend microcredit facility for street vendors at their doorsteps.
The app, created by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, is a user-friendly digital interface to help lending institutions and field workers source and process loan application of street vendors for working capital. The ministry said the mobile app will give impetus to implement the scheme to help street vendors resume their livelihoods hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. It will also promote paperless digital access of microcredit facilities by street vendors. The PM Swanidhi scheme was launched on 1st of June this year. It targets over 50 lakh street vendors who were vending on or before 24th of March 2020 in urban areas. It allows vendors working capital loans up to 10,000 rupees. The loan is repayable in monthly installments for 1 year. Since 2nd of July, when lending commenced under the scheme, over 1.54 lakh street vendors have applied for loans. Over 48,000 vendors have been sanctioned loans.
The enrollment of farmers under Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, or the PM FBI, for Kharif 2020 season is underway in full swing in various states and union territories across the country.
The government has made enrollment free for all farmers who only need to pay a premium amount. Farmers can get their food crops such as cereals and oilseeds insured at a minimal premium rate of 2% of the sum insured, while commercial and horticultural crops can be insured at a rate of 5% for the 2020 Kharif season. The remaining premium, however, will be subsidized by the centre and the states. In order to motivate the farmers, the Union Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar has appealed to them to get enrolled under the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana and requested them to protect themselves against financial loss due to crop failures or damage as a result of natural disasters.
किसान बहुत ही कम प्रीमियम पर अपनी फसल का बीमा कर सकते हैं, जहां प्रीमियम का शेष हिस्सा भारत सरकार प्रदान करती है और राज्य सरकारें भी इसमें योगदान करती हैं। खरीफ 2020 सीजन से इस योजना से जुड़ना सभी किसानों के लिए स्वैच्छिक कर दिया गया है। आप प्रधानमंत्री फसल बीमा योजना से जुड़ेंगे तो संकट काल में यह योजना आपके लिए वरदान एवं सुरक्षा कवच के रूप में काम करेगी।
The scheme ensures protection of crop loss for the entire cropping cycle from pre-sowing to post-harvest activities. Farmers are encouraged to enroll for the scheme at the earliest to avail the coverage against prevented sowing due to any unforeseen calamity. In addition, there is comprehensive risk coverage against drought, floods, inundation, landslides, unseasonal rainfall, hailstorm, natural fires and cyclone for the standing crop, as well as coverage against hailstorm, cyclone and unseasonal rainfall for post-harvest crop.
The economic development of districts and efforts of district Ganga committees are among new criteria for Prime Minister's awards for excellence in public administration.
The scheme has been restructured under the aegis of the Prime Minister's office. Instituted in 2006, the award scheme acknowledges extraordinary and innovative work by civil servants, central and state government departments and organizations. The award scheme was last restructured in 2014 by the Modi government for recognizing the performance of district collectors in priority programs, innovations and aspirational districts. The scheme has been restructured again this year to recognize the performance of district collectors towards outcome indicators, economic development of the district, promotion of Jan Andolan or people's participation, improving service delivery and redressal of public grievances. Also, the efforts of the district Ganga committees in protection and rejuvenation of water bodies, holding regular meetings and initiatives to aware people has also been added as a parameter. Accordingly, there is now inclusion of the Namami Gange program in one category and Good Performance for Ganga Rejuvenation Award has been instituted. Union Minister Jitendra Singh launched the restructured Awards for Excellence in Public Administration 2020 scheme and web portal. The registration for the awards has commenced on www.pmawards.gov.in and the submission of application will be from 1st to 15th of August after registration. The awards will be given away by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Sardar Patel's birth anniversary on 31st of October 2020 at the Statue of Unity in Kevadia in Gujarat.
Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman took part in virtual meeting of Group 20 finance ministers and central bank governors on Saturday.
The meeting focused on the global economic outlook and collective action for sustained recovery. Saudi Finance Minister Mohammed Al Jadaan and Governor of the Saudi Arabian Monetary Authority Ahmed Al Khalifa chaired the meeting. During the meet, Sitharaman shared policy measures undertaken by India to provide support during the pandemic with a comprehensive package of over $295 billion, about 10% of India's GDP. Earlier, the G20 leaders held an extraordinary summit in March. Since then, G20 finance ministers and central bank governors have been working on a globally coordinated economic response to the COVID-19 pandemic. G20 finance ministers and central bank governors have held several meetings to finalize a G20 action plan that was endorsed in April. The action plan aims to strengthen financial assistance to countries in need. Sitharaman said the action plan is an expression of our collective commitment to fight COVID-19 and it must remain relevant and effective as the crisis evolves. The finance ministers and central bank governors also signed the third G20 communique on the financial response.
Well, the floods have impacted over 40 lakh people in Assam. 97 people have died in flood-related incidents.
Floods have submerged a large part of Assam's Kaziranga National Park. 76 animals have drowned while 121 were rescued. Dhubri is the worst affected district with over 8.72 lakh displaced people. In Barpeta, nearly 4.78 lakh people have been affected. 748 relief camps are sheltering nearly 50,000 people in 24 districts. The Met Department has predicted light to moderate rainfall in Delhi and heavy to very heavy rainfall in Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Assam and Meghalaya over the weekend. Heavy to very heavy rainfall is forecast for Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, Punjab and Haryana over the next 5 days.
Well, that's it in News Tonight. Thanks for watching Rajya Sabha TV and stay safe in the time of coronavirus pandemic. Good night.